मनसा कृष्णेति यस्य गिरितं मनसा द्रियेत दीक्षास्ति चेत् प्रणतिभिश्च भजतामीशम् शुश्रूषया भजनविज्ञम् अनन्यमन्या निन्दादिशून्यहृदमिप्सितसङ्गलब्ध्या. Translation. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So this is the fifth text of the Nectar of Instruction, which is speaking about how to honor Vaishnavas with respect to the gradation. Yeah. So in the last session, we have discussed in detail about what is respect, how important is respect. And because of lack of respect or appropriate attitude of respect towards great souls, how big devotees have fallen down. We've taken the example of Indra, we've taken the example of the Jaya, Vijaya. Yeah. And from different scriptures, we have learned how important is aspect of respect. And respect also, it's an art to respect a person according to their particular position. Yeah. So we have seen the three different gradations, the Kanishta, the Madhyama, and Uttama. So in today's session, we're going to discuss in detail what are the gradations of Vaishnavas and based on what we can distinguish them. The Kanishta Adhikari, the Madhyama Adhikari, and the Uttama Adhikari. It's a very great science. Yeah, it's a very devotion, as I said, it's a great science. Yeah, it takes appropriate qualities, the right attitudes, the right etiquettes to be followed to actually qualify oneself as a good devotee. Yeah, so here is the three classifications: the Kanishta, the Madhyama, and the Uttama. So today I will discuss about how each of these devotees can be understood. Yeah. So it is in the past four classes, especially in the fourth text 4, we have understood 6 types of loving exchanges: dadati, pratigrihnati, grihyamakyati, prachati, bhunte, bhojayate, chaiva, shadvide, shadvidham, priti lakshanam. Yeah, the 6 loving exchanges between devotees we have seen. So in this text, it is about how to apply these 6 loving exchanges according to the gradations of the Vaishnavas. So first, yeah, is the Kanishta. How are these devotees classified? First is Kanishta. Who is a Kanishta Adhikari? Actually, there is one criterion of classification of all these 3. The criterion is the amount of faith they have. Yeah. So if you remember in Bhakti, what is the first first stage of the 9 stages? Ado Shraddha, faith. So based on this faith itself, the intensity of this faith, the Vaishnavas are categorized. Number 1 is the Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari has the lowest faith. Yeah, his faith is called soft and pliable, Komala Shraddha. Why is his faith called soft and pliable? Is because a Kanishta Adhikari's faith is there. Definitely he has faith in scriptures and the words of Guru and in the Supreme Lord, but it is pliable. What is the meaning of pliable? When there is excessive pressure, it breaks down. This is solidly seen in practical scenarios, wherein sometimes, a devotee who just comes to the path of spirituality or Krishna consciousness, and somebody, some friend or, some elder or some cousin, somebody says, hey, this is not the age for you to take up all these practices. There's so much more life ahead. Now you have to focus on your studies and settling down. Later you can do this. The moment such words fall into the ears of a neophyte, what happens? Komala Shraddha. The faith breaks down. So yeah, maybe, what he's saying is true. I can postpone this for some time and now focus on other important aspects for me to settle down with life. Later I can see. Yeah. So this is what is Kanishta platform. Yeah, the lowest platform, where the Shraddha or the faith is very soft, tender, and pliable. It is there, but it's not very easy to break that. Anybody can just come brainwash and say that, this is not what it is. It should be something else. And they immediately yield. Yeah. So this is Kanishta platform. What is the faith of the Madhyama? A Madhyamadhikari has a very deep faith in the scriptures, in the words of the Guru, and his faith is drida. That is, it cannot be shaken. Yeah, he stands strong on the path despite obstacles and reversals. But a Madhyamadhikari does not have the capacity to convince others based on scriptures. Yeah, he has knowledge of scriptures. He can debate, but he does not have the capacity to convince anybody about the words and wisdom from the scriptures. So this is the difference between Madhyama and Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadhikari, his faith is completely fixed. There is no question of deviation. Yeah. So Uttamadhikari is somebody who can see Krishna everywhere. Yeah. Sometimes now, like in the neophyte stage, let's say, a person has a desire that, I want to travel around the world, or travel and explore different places. So in the neophyte stage, what happens when that happens? Such a person gets bewildered. They go around and they start seeing things, and they begin to get attracted by the glitters of Maya. Oh, wow, this is amazing wardrobe. This is something very nice, which I always wanted. Now, your mind gets allured by different things. And, within no time, the consciousness gets absorbed into Maya. Why? Because a Kanishta is able to see, here is a very, very important distinction. A Kanishta can appreciate the presence of Krishna only in the deity form. Yeah. He thinks, okay, Krishna means he's in the temple, he's in the deity form, he's in a particular form. But he cannot visualize the presence of Krishna everywhere. That is why when exposed to Maya, they get easily allured or carried away. But what about the Mahabhagavat devotee? That is, who is the Uttamadhikari? He sees Krishna everywhere and everything. Yeah, so it is in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, for one who sees everything in me and me in everything, such a person is never lost to me. Yeah, very, very important. The vision of the Kanishta, the Madhyama, and Uttama. Uttamadhikari, wherever he goes in the world, whomever, irrespective of the caste, creed, age, religion, sex, anything, yeah, he does not see the covering. He sees what's within the soul, divinity, Krishna's presence. Yeah, he can see everything and anything in relation to Krishna, and they're not bewildered. I'll give you a small example. Once when Srila Prabhupada was making samosas for Krishna, to offer it to Krishna, at that time, a war broke out. And just from where he was staying, a little distance away, there were bombs that were being dropped. Dong, dong, big, big sounds of bombs that were dropped. Prabhupada, he didn't bother. He continued making those samosas. So somebody came and told Prabhupada, oh, Swamiji, Abhay Babu, a war broke out and they are destroying everything. We should vacate this place and go. Then Prabhupada said, no, if my death is, imminent, and if Krishna wants to take my life, I am ready. Yeah, I'm actually in the service of Krishna, making bhoga for him. So what can be a greater opportunity to leave the body than the service, than being in the service? He says, Mare Krishna rakhe ke, rakhe Krishna mare ke. If Krishna wants to kill, who can save? And if Krishna wants to save, who can kill? So saying this, Prabhupada continued his service despite, being in such a terrorizing situation. This is called faith. Faith in Krishna. Yeah. See, Prahlad Maharaj, for example. No matter how much of trauma you are put into, he was undeterred. He was thrown into a pit of fire, undeterred. Thrown into a big mountain, undeterred. Wherever you throw, he was undeterred. Why? He had that faith. There can be no greater example than Prahlad, to exemplify what it means to take, faith. So this whole Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama are also called, Kanishta devotee is called a neophyte, the Madhyama is called a preacher, and Uttama is called a Mahabhagavata. And as I said, they're classified based on the degree and intensity of faith they have. For a Kanishta, the faith is soft and pliable. For a Madhyama, the faith is dhrida, fixed, but they cannot defeat others in the argument in terms of convincing them about the validity of scriptures. And third is Uttamadikari, who is a Mahabhagavat devotee. His faith is very deep. Nothing can shake his faith. And he can convince anyone about the conclusions of Vedic scriptures. So this is an Uttamadikari. So this is how based on faith, they're all distinguished. And also this Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama, they're also distinguished based on their faith and attitude towards the deity. Yeah. So a Kanishta devotee is somebody who sees the presence of Krishna only in the deity form, and he does not know how to see that same divinity in people around. Yeah. So he thinks, okay, deity, Krishna's deity means, okay, Krishna is there, only he has to be served. Rest of the people, I don't care. Especially even if they're devotees, I don't care. I'm more attached to the deity. So this is a Kanishta mentality. Yeah, they're also called Prakrita Bhaktas. They do not know how to respect the co-devotees. Okay, like I'll give you a solid example to understand this point. The example is, let us say when you're offering Aarti to the deities, yeah, you're in the middle of offering Aarti to the deities. And at that time, some senior Vaishnavas comes to your home. What should you do? The etiquette is, you have to just take the permission from the Lord, stop the Aarti, first go and honor the Vaishnava who has come to your home, yeah, properly take care of them and take permission from them, and then come and continue the Aarti. These are the dynamics. This is how important, Vaishnavas are. Even if you're doing Aarti to the Lord, if the Vaishnava comes, stop it. Go, honor him, make them comfortable, and come back and resume your Aarti. So this is, the degree in which a Madhyama is and Uttama is able to see Krishna everywhere. But a Kanishta or a Prakrita Bhakta is, he can see the presence of Krishna only in the deity form. He does not know how to offer proper respects to the devotees around. He does not know how to deal with them. He does not know how to form proper interpersonal relationships with them. This is a Kanishta platform. So Madhyama, he respects the deities, but at the same time, he sees the presence of the same deity in the hearts of different devotees. And he thinks that same deity whom I'm seeing here, and that very same deity will be pleased in the hearts of the devotees when I serve them well. And this is the Madhyama platform. And what is a Uttama platform? Uttama platform is, they see deity as non-different from Krishna. There is no difference between the deity form and Krishna. This is the vision of Uttamadikari. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva vidayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yeah, the vision of a pure devotee is, they see Krishna the deity as non-different from Krishna. There's this famous verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Tumi Murti Nai, Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. Yeah. We also see this in the story of Dhanurdas. Yeah, how Ramanujacharya has given him the special vision, and he got the vision to see Ranganath in his true form. See, every day we go and have the darshan of the Lord, and we take the darshan of the deity of Ranganath. We might, but we cannot actually see the beauty of the Lord because our eyes are covered over. But an Uttamadhikari, Mahabhagavad devotee, is so powerful that he can also bless that vision to a sincere, to whomsoever he wishes to give that vision. So Ramanujacharya gave that vision to Dhanurdas. And immediately, he could see the beauty, the true beauty of Ranganath in the deity form. So when he saw that beauty, for a moment, he just went out of his mind. Then he thought, oh, the Lord is giving me so much, and the Lord is so beautiful. And keeping this beauty aside, I'm just chasing after the ordinary beauty of the material world, which has material eyes and skin and face. So immediately he becomes he and along with his wife, they both become disciples of Ramanujacharya. And ever since then, they execute his order. So a Mahabhagavad devotee can actually see the presence of the deity, see the presence of Krishna in the deity form. Tumi Murti Nahi, Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. So these are the various ways of classifying the various gradations of Vaishnava based on faith, based on the vision of the deity and how they treat the devotees. Yeah. What is the attitude of the Mahabhagavat? A Mahabhagavat always thinks that everybody else is more qualified than me. Yeah. And that's why they go and offer dandavats to everybody. Yeah. You see, Srimati Radharani, whenever she takes a devotee and introduces them to Krishna, she takes him or her and says, oh, Krishna, look at this. Here is your devotee. And this devotee is much more qualified than me. They have more devotion than me. Who is saying this? Radharani herself. Yeah. So Mahabhagavad devotee is that devotee who actually can a Mahabhagavad devotee is that devotee who actually feels themselves much lower than even ordinary people in terms of their devotion to the Lord. Yeah. So these are some classifications of Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. I will just share with you more. Yeah. So again, we will see here some little more. Achayam eva haraye pujam yah shraddhaye hata natad bhakteshu chanyeshu sa bhaktah prakritah smritah. Person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave towards devotees or people in general, is called a prakrita bhakta or kanishta bhakta. So, yeah, and yesterday we were telling about how to raise oneself from the Kanishta platform to the Madhyama platform. Ishware tadadineshu balisheshu dvishatsucha prema maitri kripa upeksha yah karoti samadhyama. The Madhyamadhikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, is merciful to the ignorant, and avoids those who are envious by nature. So this is the way to cultivate devotional service properly. Okay, so therefore, in this verse, Rupa Goswami advised us how to treat various devotees. Okay, the Prakrita Sahajiyas and they chant the Mahamantra, but they are internally attached to the opposite sex, money, and intoxication. Yeah. So they chant, but they're not properly purified. Such people should be respected within one's mind, but their association should be avoided. So this is one of the typical discussion about the Kanishta platform. Yeah. Then we spoke about what happens at the time of Diksha. Yeah. And one more thing is the Madhyamadhikari is also called a preacher. Yeah, the Madhyamadhikari is also called the preacher devotee. So why he's called a preacher? Because he's always engaged in preaching. And Uttamadhikari does not preach. This is a very, very interesting concept. An Uttamadhikari doesn't preach. Why? Because he genuinely feels that everybody else is more qualified than me. So what should I preach? What can I preach to them? So actually a Uttamadhikari to preach unto others, he comes down to the level of a Madhyamadhikari and then preaches. So Madhyamadhikari is basically the preacher devotee. Like we said, Ishvare tadadhineshu bhalisheshu drishatsucha. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Apeksha. Prema is love, and he has love for Krishna, love for God. Maitri, friendship with equals. Kripa, there he has compassion to the subordinates. Apeksha, keeps away envious people. So because he has these qualities, this kind of a discrimination, he can actually effectively preach. And what is exactly preaching? So preaching is, there's a very wonderful topic that has been described recently. So preaching means it is not about, exhibiting one's talent, nor is it a medium of establishing one's own self-worth. Yeah. One should not think, yes, I become a preacher. Tomorrow there'll be so many people listening to me. There will be so many people following me. And, they become devotees because of me. So all these are these complex thoughts. Who is the center here? I am the center. So I'm going to preach. I'm going to become successful. I'm going to become very glorious, and I will get fame and recognition in the society. So if I'm thinking like this, we might get a material success, but this is not any kind of advancement in bhakti. And such an status quo does not last for long also. Yeah. So one who is actually into active preaching should be very careful of these kind of pitfalls. So what should be the consciousness one should cultivate? What the mood of preaching? Whatever I am doing is simply a message of the Lord that is transparently given to others. Yeah. And through this process, in my heart, how much am I connecting to Krishna? Yeah, how much is my connectivity with the Supreme Lord Krishna is increasing? This is my purpose of my various services, including preaching. So this is the consciousness of a proper Madhyamadhikari. This should be the consciousness of preaching. In fact, preaching means it's not just about having eloquent speaking abilities. Anything is preaching. Just being a very good example, a very good follower of the instructions is also preaching. Somebody who can actually dress the deities very, very, very beautifully, that is also preaching. Because when you dress the deities very beautifully, the devotees come and they appreciate so much, they fall in love, and they become devotees. Just yesterday I was telling, there are 4 ways in which people get connected to spirituality. What are the 4 ways? Number 1 is cultural connect. Number 2 is social connect. And number 3 is philosophical connect. And number 4 is psychological connect. The first 2 are very much famous, especially in India. What are they? Social connect and cultural connect. What is cultural connect? The whole ambience that is present in the temple, especially. Sometimes see some devotees go to some beautiful temples like Juhu temple, Chowpatty temple, or in Tirupati, there's an amazing temple. In Hyderabad, the deities are so beautiful. You go to a temple and the whole ambience, gets you very highly inspired and to absorb bhakti, to get connected to spirituality. So this is the what? Cultural connect. The whole culture of bhakti, there is a arati that is happening in the temple, the smell, fragrance of this perfumes, the nice kirtans that are happening, and devotees singing, all this creates a culture. And this, because of this culture, some devotees get attracted. So this is called cultural connect. Number 2 is social connect. What is social connect? Social connect is You're connecting into spirituality through interpersonal relationships with devotees, or by appreciating the relationships between two devotees. Yeah, this is what social connect, cultural connect, social connect. Then third is philosophical connect. That is, they themselves are very inquisitive to know about Krishna. They have some prior background of, exploring philosophy. And, whenever they hear philosophy, they get immediately connected. So this is philosophical connect. I'm sure most of you present here have a philosophical connect. Yeah. So that's the third type of connection. Fourth is psychological connect. Some people, especially this philosophical and psychological connect, are more prevalent in Western countries. They connect more through these two platforms. So psychological connect is through by understanding by getting some kind of a help, like in improving one's own personality. Like okay, so okay, I can actually have a more positive outlook. Maybe I can develop more tolerance, more resilience, more better emotional control. Some people find this connectivity with the scriptures. So this is what is psychological connect. So all these are 4 different ways of connecting to spirituality. And a preacher understands these 4 ways and suitably facilitates that to inspire people into devotion or bhakti. So, as I said, preaching is not just about speaking from the Shastras, even a sincere act of decorating the deities very beautifully, cooking amazing bhoga and offering to the Lord and giving prasadam to people. When you've cooked something very nice and given it to somebody, and the person tastes it and says, "Oh wow, this gulab jamun tastes so good." If he just says that once, his or her devotional life has already started. Right? Prasadam means it's a manifestation of Lord Krishna's mercy. So you're glorifying Krishna. Prasad means you're glorifying Krishna himself. So if you have glorified Krishna, your devotion has started. Yeah, that is how potent these practices are. And that is preaching. Cooking nice bhoga for the Lord is also preaching and offering it and giving it as Mahaprasad. Or, enthusing, and enthusing somebody who's, that's okay, praising. So enthusing someone who's next to you to practice bhakti, that is also preaching. So preaching has different shades. It's not just about speaking. Yeah. Or if you're just an amazing example who's practicing sadhana so nicely, just sitting and very attentively, you're sitting and chanting, that is also preaching. Yeah, so all these are preaching abilities. That means just being a transparent courier or a via medium for the message of the Lord to reach the hearts of the devotees. If you're simply being a medium of that means you're a preacher. Yeah, it is said that a preacher, a genuine preacher, seriously follows all the instructions of the scriptures and sometimes speaks. Yeah, it's a very grave responsibility, basically. So this is Ishwar, the neophyte devotee, the Madhyamadikari, and the Uttamadikari. So preaching as such, like it is actually one of the 4 purposes of ISKCON. The mission statements of ISKCON. Number 1 is what? Purity is the force. Yeah. Books are the basis. Preaching is the essence. And 4th one is, what is the 4th one? Utility is the principle. Yeah. So preaching is the essence. So this is the very foundational cornerstone of ISKCON's philosophy. Yeah. Preaching is the essence. So unless, what is preaching? Whatever I have learned, whatever I have received, I'm just sharing it with others. It is said, each one teach one while being taught one. This is in simple words what preaching is all about. Each one teach one while being taught by one. So at our stage, if we can start with this is also preaching. And preaching is the most dearest service to Krishna. He's in Bhagavad Gita saying, Nachatasman manusheshu kaschid me priyakritama bhavitad nachame tasman anyat priyataro bhuvi. Yeah, there will never be anyone who will be more dearer to me than he who conveys this message of Gita to others. So preaching is such an amazing experience. It's such a joy of the heart that we learn, and whatever we learn, we are sharing with others, especially the Gita. Yeah, and once you get that rasa, you don't go anywhere. Yeah, and preaching is something that very much purifies a person. Why does it purify? We speak so many things. Somewhere in the heart, we also have developed that conscience that, oh, I'm preaching, so I must also follow. That kind of a consciousness developed. That is that preaching purifies. Yeah, it gives us the opportunity to glorify the Lord, and it makes us become a medium through which other hearts are enlightened. It's a glorious seva preaching. So while a Madhyamadikari preaches to everybody, he avoids the envious. Yeah, the envious people he avoids. That is what is Valisheshu Dvishatsucha. Yeah, Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Napeksha. Prema is shown to God, Maitri is to devotees, Kripa, compassion is to the juniors, subordinates, and Apeksha. Apeksha means keeping distance. So Madhyamadikari keeps distance from the envious people. So recently somebody was asking, sometimes we preach to our office people, they don't understand. So but that Madhyama platform is such envious. There are most of the people who ask some asuric questions. Yeah, they're basically very envious in nature for Krishna or anything. Such people we have to keep a distance, apeksha. Yeah. And such an intelligent person who knows this discrimination between people and applies these principles is a proper Madhyamadikari. And we should all strive to be a proper Madhyamadikari. Only then we can preach. Yeah. So the highest stage, in fact, we see how Srila Prabhupada expertly preached to so many 10,000 disciples. Yeah, and he's the biggest example of what it means to say purity is a force. Because when Prabhupada went to the West, his accent, his language was heavy Bengali accent. None of the American people understood what Prabhupada spoke. They had to hear and rehear again and again and then understand what Prabhupada actually spoke. So, but how is that, they all got so attracted to Prabhupada? And they used to hear and rehear Prabhupada's recordings, cassette recordings for 10 times until they understood every point and they used to follow. Why? Purity is a force. Prabhupada was so pure. And he had the genuine compassion that the others should learn. So because of the genuinity of intent and feeling, human beings understand, though they didn't belong to the same culture and though they were young and hippies, they understood here is a person who's genuinely caring and loving us. That's how, they got the message. And that's how, Prabhupada's preaching was so successful in the East and in the West. It's because it's that Mahabhagavat. Preach, and he aptly has shown that, preaching is the essence all around the world. Yeah. So Mahabhagavat, as I said, is the Uttamadikari will not be able to preach. He comes to the level of Madhyamadikari and preaches. So this is, about what it means to actually preach. And preaching is like, an ongoing, it's a wonderful medium of actually going deep into our own devotion. Yeah, it's a sacred service to the Lord. So if any of you have the opportunity individually or collectively, try to just repeat whatever you have heard through various lectures and share such a joyful experience. And that's why we have to strive to become Madhyama. Then the third highest is third gradation is Uttamadhikari. Who is an Uttamadhikari? He's a Mahabhagavad devotee. As I said, he is the one who sees no faults in others. He sees everybody as, pure. And in fact, he sees everybody as more qualified than his own self in having devotion for the Lord. Yeah, it's a very, very pure and elevated platform. So we will see some more examples of who is a, yeah. Yeah. And the advanced Uttamadhikari Vaishnava devotee should be, excuse me, how one should accept such a person as a spiritual master himself. Yeah. So actually, Uttamadhikari is a spiritual master qualification. Yeah, the devotee should also know his own position and should not try to, imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttamadhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. Yeah. So how do you recognize a Uttamadhikari? By his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. Yeah. And one should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttamadhikari. So it is clearly seen the number of devotees Prabhupada has made into serious Vaishnavas. Yeah. And through that, how many lives he has changed and from what to what. Yeah. The magic that he has created in the West and in India. Thousands of devotees who are situated in the worst, terrible status of life. They have become pure Vaishnavas. Yeah. So that itself is a very loud confirmation of who is actually a Uttamadhikari devotee. Yeah, who can inspire and transforms hearts and who can make them fixed up Vaishnavas are Uttamadhikari devotees. So this gradation we should always keep in mind and understand whom we are dealing with and how to offer respects, yeah, according to their proper status. Yeah. And when we honor devotees appropriately, then it creates a beautiful culture of Krishna consciousness, a culture of bhakti. And when we create such a culture, individually and collectively, we together progress on the path of bhakti much, much, much faster than what we individually are capable of. Yeah. So this the culture of respect and that can be brought out by appropriately understanding these gradations in Vaishnavism and applying that in our etiquette. Yeah. So in actually where I'm studying right now at IIT Mandi, we have one credit course which exclusively deals with exhibiting proper etiquettes and behavior. It's so important, especially it's a challenge when we are just simply learning and on an online mode how to practically apply these teachings in our life. Yeah, especially in terms of offering the right respects and showing proper etiquettes in receiving guests or in Vaishnava dealings. It's a very, very refined qualities, and these can be learned by practice under the guidance of senior Vaishnavas. Yeah, on one's own, it is difficult to imbibe and practice them. Yeah, that is why we need the association of devotees, especially in the beginning stages of our bhakti. We need the association of senior devotees who can guide us and help us become fixed up on the path. And after that, we can spread our wings and then develop relationship with our comrades or equals. But initially, the relationship with us, with seniors, is very, very important. You have to be properly guided and nourished in bhakti and directed in bhakti. Okay, so this is where I will end my session. The 3 gradations, and this is where the text 5 also ends. 3 gradations of Vaishnavas: the Kanishta, Uttama, the Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. They're classified based on their faith. The Kanishta Adhikari's faith is soft and pliable, that is, it breaks under pressure. Madhyama is fixed up, but cannot convince others based on the philosophical conclusions of the Vedas. And Uttamadhikari is, he's of convincing anybody based on the conclusions of the Shastras. Yeah, this is how we classify these 3, the Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. Then they're also classified based on how they see the deity form of the Lord. Yeah, a Kanishta is attracted only to the deity form. He does not adequately knows how to respect the fellow devotees. Yeah, he sees the Lord only in the Mukti. Such a consciousness is also called a Prakrita Bhakta. Yeah. And second, Madhyamadhikari sees Krishna in the deity form, and he also sees his presence in the Vaishnavas, and therefore deals with them in appropriate way. Whereas Uttamadhikari sees the deity as non-different from Krishna himself. Tumi Murti Nai, Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. Actually, if you see in the Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whenever he is to hold a Shaligram Shila, he is to just look at the Shila and just start crying and crying and crying, shedding incessant tears. And with those tears, he is to offer, Abhishek to the Shaligram Shila. So that is then how Mahabhagat sees, the deity form in total trance. Yeah, as a deity being not different from Krishna himself. So that is Uttamadhikari's vision of the deities and how his handles other aspects. Yeah, in this way we have also seen, based on Shraddha, based on how they see the deities, and also the preaching ability. So we have seen the 3 gradations of Kanishta, Uttama, and Madhyama. So by knowing each of their levels and statuses, understanding that, we offer respects appropriately. Yeah, and this is the secret of progress on the path of devotion. Yeah, it is neither our hardcore sadhana, or of course sadhana is very important, because without the basis of sadhana we cannot cultivate these good habits. At the end of the day, how we are dealing with Vaishnavas, how we are pleasing the different devotees, how we are satisfying them, their needs, and serving them. This is the secret of progress in bhakti. That is all. I will end my session here. Thank you all very much. I will take one question. If you have any questions, please ask. Okay, so Mahalakshmi asks a question. Does engaging in making crafts related to Krishna will be considered preaching? Definitely, Mahalakshmi, certainly, because if the craft work is something related to Krishna, anytime any person who sees that work is reminded of Krishna, right? So you are facilitating the remembrance of Krishna through your craft work of somebody. So that is certainly preaching. Yeah, very good question. And especially when you're able to put your heart into your service and create something of good quality, very good quality. Yeah. So at that time, service especially every time, service means quality. Service means one should put one's heart into it. Only then, it actually hits the target. Yeah, of pleasing Krishna. And certainly your craft making comes under preaching only, definitely. Okay, any other questions? Anybody has any other questions? Oh boy, thank you too. Okay, so we will end the session here. Can you stop the recording?